This is the Yiwu International Trade Market in China. With 75,000 stores spread out over 1,500 acres, it's the world's largest wholesale market. If you've ever bought anything on TEMU or SHEIN, there's a good chance it came from here. But the price of all these goods might be going up after President Trump suspended a trade exemption that had turbocharged Chinese e-commerce platforms. A little-known loophole had fueled a boom in low-cost Chinese goods making their way from Yiwu to the US.
Chinese companies TEMU and SHEIN plan to dominate the world. After watching this video, you're gonna know how crazy their market share is.
You can get bunting for your US election campaign. But Trump's new tariffs may put an end to that. Here's why this market, the center point of global wholesale trade, has found itself in the US government's crosshairs. The bazaar is strategically located near China's east coast, close to huge ports in Shanghai and Ningbo, allowing easy trade to the US. Buyers for e-commerce platforms like TEMU and SHEIN flock to Yiwu to source cheap products in bulk and sell them on to American consumers. Look at it.
That's why US merchants and companies, they got really rich because they bought from China, then they sell it to American consumers. So 5 to 7 years ago, lots of e-commerce platform came up, and lots of Americans, they knew how to do drop shipping. What is drop shipping? Drop shipping is you buy something really cheap from China, from online sources like Alibaba Express. Then after that, you ship it to the States. About 2 weeks later, the end customer got the products. So you never get a chance to see the products, which is pretty smart, right? First you get the order, then after that you place the order on China website like AliExpress. Then the merchants, the supplier, ship directly to the customer, and you don't have to touch it. You don't need to have a warehouse. So people like drop shippers, they could do that because there was no tariff on the import, like less than $800. So there's no tariff. So they could do that. So lots of people become millionaire. Americans, they became millionaire. I've also done it too. So that was very, very good source of income for part-time or full-time. So yeah, now it could be going away because of new President Trump law that's gonna close the loophole. And SHEIN and TEMU, they also suffer. And mostly Americans, companies and dropshippers, they suffer much, much more because they could no longer source their products cheaply from China. So what do you think? Do you think it's the US or it's the China who suffer more? Comment down below.
To American consumers. Look at this. You got Trump 2024, and they've even got the hair to prove it. Made in China. These MAGA hats are sold wholesale in Yiwu for around $1 a cap.
$1.
And the prices stayed low for US consumers because the shipment wasn't
It's only $6. Look at that. The shipments. There's no tax. Shipping is only $3. That's really crazy. So at the end, the company, the merchants in America, they got it for $6. Then they sell it for like $30 or $40. So it's about more than 5 times. So that's pretty good profit.
Subject to any import taxes or tariffs. That's thanks to something called de minimis. It's a provision that allows any shipments under $800 to enter America tariff-free, regardless of where they come from. The US has one of the highest de minimis thresholds in the world, around 50 times higher than Canada's.
And that explains Americans get paid more than Canadians. Just imagine if you are an importer or if you're a drop shipper, you want to source the products from China or anywhere else, and you have a limit up to 800, no tariff, no import taxes, right? So you get the order, you place the order for the supplier in China ship it to the American consumers at the end, then you don't have to touch it. Then you can make lots of profit, like 5 times, 7 times, 10 times. Then you have more profit, then you can pay your employees. One employee handle some of the goods, another employee handle some of the goods, so you can employ more people at higher wages. Because Canada only has $15, so that means anything above they need to pay import tax. So Canadians companies, importers, they could not import so many goods, right, above $15. So if they import goods above $15, they need to pay higher tax. So that means they could not hire as many people as they wish, and they could not pay as much as they wish to, because there is no margin. The margin is going to be so small. American companies, they have higher margin for that they could pay higher wages for their American employees. So what do you think? Do you think they would eliminate the minimus $800 could destroy jobs in America, or could it be better for domestic manufacturers? Yeah, domestic manufacturers, they are not so efficient. They make products at higher cost, right? The same products could cost 4 or 5 times more. So let's continue.
Had to put a tariff and all of the customs paperwork on every single product that comes into a country, you would overwhelm your customs officials with things that are so small that what is the point?
Chinese platforms like Shein and TEMU have built huge business models around shipping tariff-free from places like Yiwu directly to US consumers. Exports from the city were valued at more than $70 billion in 2023, and a significant amount of that ends up in the US. About $54 billion worth of products were shipped to America in 2023 under the de minimis provision, with the bulk coming from China. But the new US administration's move to end the duty-free allowance for Chinese imports could increase the price for a lot of the products that flow from Yiwu to American customers. President Trump has announced new tariffs on China that removed the de minimis exemption.
That was just an opening salvo. If we can't make a deal with China, then the tariffs will be very, very substantial.
The order caused widespread confusion and prompted the US Postal Service to temporarily stop accepting parcels from China before allowing them again.
So that move, you could say it's a smart move as a negotiating power. I don't think it could last for a long time because it will be quite troublesome to check every packages from China. Hey, how much is this worth? How much is it? I put the test on it. It's more, it needs more manpower for USPS as well as for custom and everything. But of course, TEMU and SHEIN, they got hurt by this policy. So which is a smart move. Of course, American companies and importers, so they could no longer be profitable from this business model of drop shipping. So yeah, so I already took profit long time ago before this happened. So I think now could be a difficult time for the drop shippers or importers. So what do you think? Comment down below.
More than 1.3 billion packages entered the US tariff-free under the provision in 2024. TEMU and SHEIN alone likely accounted for nearly one-third of these shipments.
That's a lot.
An average order on SHEIN is around $70. Under previous rules, that parcel entered the US duty-free.
Now it's gonna cost like double, $140, right? $145 or whatever, $150. So yes, lots of the products are made in China. So if American consumer could not buy products from anywhere else, they need to pay higher price regardless, because some people, they have to use it. Some of the American companies, they need Chinese parts to manufacture finished products in America. So in that situation, either you pay for it or you stop your business, right? So both are difficult choices. Even if you pay for the parts, you could technically bankrupt your companies, because if the cost of buying your product is so high because of the import prices, and your finished products gonna be so high that the end consumer may not even buy at all. They may travel outside of the states to buy the same products, or they may not buy totally at all. So what do you think? Comment down below.
With the provision removed, these shipments will now be subject to import taxes, including a new additional 10% tariff. Under Trump's order, small parcels from China will now be subject to extra customs checks, meaning packages could face a lengthy processing time. And talk of higher tariffs has sparked growing anxiety in Yiwu.
有关税的话就会有影响啊，后手不可能没影响的，有关税嘛。
Critics say changes are needed to stop Chinese e-commerce platforms like TEMU and SHEIN from flooding the US market and undercutting domestic businesses.
Of course, domestic businesses, actually, you only compete if you are in commodity business like t-shirt, right? You are selling t-shirt. A customer can buy from you or somebody else. There's no differentiating factor. Why should they buy from you, right? They can buy anywhere else. So in that situation, you are competing on the price, or customer service, or delivery time. So in that situation, yes, your product may be better, but it costs a lot more. If I wait 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks I need to pay only half of the price, and quality is not much difference. Then most customers are willing to pay, willing to wait and only pay half the price to receive the same product. So that's a difficulty. So if you want to compete better internationally, you need to make better products at cheaper price and at faster rate, faster delivery rate. Only these three. That's the reason why you don't want to be in a commodity business. And at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you what business I like the most. I don't need to worry about all these things, the cost, commodity. You have to worry about everything. The customer really have so many choices in commodity.
Both Shein and TEMU say de minimis isn't key to their success.
Of course, they say that, but I think it's gonna hurt their profits. It's one of the keys to their success. Yes, they spend a lot on advertising in Facebook, whatever, which benefit American companies. But that is because of their low prices. Americans love low prices. Actually, everybody loves low prices. If they can get the same or maybe just a little less quality at a much cheaper price, and they could wait 1 week, 2 weeks. It doesn't matter. So they will do that. And these consumers, they could not afford to pay higher prices for the products anyway. So if these consumers could not buy these products at all, they're not going to buy at all because they could not pay a lot.
It's symbolic, because now you could say we're going after Chinese companies at all levels.
Thinking about going.
So it's pretty crazy that by eliminating the limits, and that also impact most of the American companies because they need to source from China to make finished goods or to sell it to the end consumer. So at the end, everybody loses in a trade war. So which do you think gonna lose more? And some people say America is the biggest consumer in the world, so they have a bargaining power. But just think about it, China is also the biggest manufacturer in the world. So whatever Americans want, China has it. So if you really need a product to make something, to produce the finished products, you still need to buy. If most of your companies are in China and they are manufacturing plants, and if they could not manufacture anymore, America's company also get hurt too, because Americans, they need to manufacture to sell it to the end customer. So here in this situation, there is no clear consumers, because even American companies, they outsource their manufacturing to China, so they need that products to sell it to the end consumer. So in this situation, American companies become the producer, and Americans or the other customer around the world become the consumers. So yeah, there's no clear cut. So let's see who's gonna win, and I'm gonna tell you how much market share they have, TEMU and SHEIN, and that's pretty crazy market share. They were able to gain really quick, really fast.
These companies at all levels, the tsunami of packages that apparently needs to be stopped. I don't think it will be stopped, it'll just be routed differently.
Shipments from Yiwu have surged, and experts say demand for these cheap goods from China is not going anywhere.
Why do we have so many packages? Because there's so many American consumers who are interested in purchasing these products from companies like TEMU.
Right, exactly. If Americans don't buy, hey, there is no consumer, there is no demand. These companies like TEMU or SHEIN, Chinese company, may not get the business at all. And also, if President Trump wants to block Chinese products, the Chinese or the business says that companies, they can always reroute. They can send it to Germany, they can send it to other countries, and then Americans have to buy from those other countries anyway. So you are adding an extra layer. So that means your cost of purchasing products will be much higher. So what do you think? Well, what could be the solution for this one? Comment down below.
Companies like TEMU.
A new trade war between China and the US is taking shape, with Beijing imposing its own retaliatory tariffs on some US imports. But if Trump keeps tighter trade restrictions on China, experts say the shipments won't stop.
They will just do things differently. They will say, well, if that's the rule, then we'll adjust. So you haven't necessarily solved the challenge, which was to cut off Chinese products entering the US market. What you have done is drive up the cost for US consumers.
You think, if rules change, businessmen, they change their behavior, they change the way they do things. But still, they're gonna sell the products, right? And people still gonna buy if they buy good products at a cheaper prices. So then, in the end, it's gonna drive up the cost of American consumer. So what do you think? Do you think is there better solutions? Comment down below. Let's look at SHEIN. SHEIN is a fast fashion company. You can see they have the fashion products for ladies and for the men. So many fashions, clothing. So then TEMU is, they sell everything. They sell everything is TEMU. Look at that. They sell everything. So how much? You see all these tools. Americans, they need to pay higher prices right now. Of course, this is not to say that President Trump should not have done that, but there could be a better way too. There could be better solution to stop rerouting, and also, as long as Americans, they can get better negotiating power. Just make sure it doesn't last a long time, because the longer it takes, the more it's gonna hurt everybody, not just Americans or not just Chinese, just everybody around the world. So how much market share does SHEIN have? They have a significant market share in fashion, fast fashion, e-commerce, 50% in November 2022. That's pretty crazy. Look at it, pretty crazy. 2023, 14.4 billion in US fashion revenue, and they grew really fast. During the COVID time, it's only 18% in March. In 2022, 40%. Then 50% by November 2022. Wow, that's more than double, and just 10% increase within a few months in 1 year. Look at that. US is 28.2% of global sales, followed by Germany 6.6%, UK 6%. So US is quite powerful. They have a quite powerful consumer, but it's because consumer, they love to spend money. They want to borrow money to buy goods. So if as an audience, what's the best way? Don't become a consumer. You can get credit card. Just get credit card. You get $100 bonus. The link's gonna be in my YouTube description comment down below. Just open a credit card using my link. Then you get a $100 bonus, and you get free interest-free loan for like 8 months or a year, depending on promotion, then you just pay for necessities. Do not overspend, okay? Just pay for groceries and stuff like that. That's how you become really good with using credit card debt. And TEMU, look at TEMU. How much is market share for TEMU? 70% market share in budget shopping category. Dollar General 43%, Dollar Tree 28%. TEMU does a very good job. No physical stores in the US. They could get 70% market share. Dollar General and Dollar Tree, they have physical stores in the US. So that could be quite scary. Top 3 players, look at that. US is one of the TEMU's largest markets. Yeah, they also have a large customer base around the world too. And TEMU's success is based on marketing and based on cheap products. Yeah. So one business I like the most is stock investing on option trading and advanced option trading, because if I could make 52,000 in a day, I don't need to look for cheap products, right? Most people just spend hours and hours to buy cheap products. I don't think that's a smart move. A better move is just save as much time as possible and use it on learning new skills, high income skill like stock investing, call option, put options, and advanced option. Then if you can make as much as I do, hey, that's happy family. I take my family around the world, travel around the world. I don't need to worry about money. I can live anywhere in the world. I only spend 1 to 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, so 20 days a month, trading options and investing in stocks. That's a perfect life. So if you want to learn more, go to Master Risk Stock Option Crypto. Go to playlist. You can learn more about stock investing, call option, put options, advanced option, and other investment education. And share, subscribe. I will see you in the next video.